Okay, I am back with another video for O-level math revision. Today's topic is mensuration. You can expect a full-fledged question on your P2 because it hasn't turned up in P1. Okay, and the idea is what we're going to go through is to revise all the formulas, apply them, see the different type of questions that are there in the more recent past papers, and plan our revision accordingly. So starting off with this first question, this shows a prism. Although a prism has been, I think, tested in P1, there was a small question, but still, let's just go over the formula so that we recall the formulas. This one says the diagram shows a triangular prism. AC is equals to this, BC equals to that, and angle ACB is equals to 27 degrees. Calculate AP. Now, this is more of a question on trigonometry than anything else. I see side, angle, and side. So I'm going to apply the cosine rule. I'm going to say that x square equals to 14 square plus 15 square minus 2 into 14 into 15 into cos of 27. And then take a root of all of this. So x becomes what? X becomes it becomes 6.8394, let's say. Okay, and correct to three significant figures with 6.84, and that is our final answer. Then it says the length of the prism is p centimeters. So this is p centimeters, it's in the length. Okay, and the volume of the prism is 1000. Calculate p. What is the volume of a prism? The volume of a prism is, I write it as area of cross section into height or length. Let's call that length in this case. Okay, the volume of the prism is given as 1000. What is the area of the cross section? Now the cross section is the identical slices that you get. So if I were to cut this prism up, I would get triangles out of this. What is the area of this triangle? I can again use a bit of trigonometry and say half a b sine of c. Remember that a and b are the sides on the side of the angle. The angle has to be inclusive, it can't be an exclusive, and into p. I can do this in one go. I can say that 2000 divided by 14 into 15 into sine of 27, and my calculator will take care of the rest. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to write this on my calculator. 2000 19.579. So 19.6, correct to three significant figures. Okay, that's part B. Let's look at part C. It says the prism is to be packed in a carton. The carton is a cuboid of side 15 by p centimeters by 8 centimeters. Okay, calculate the smallest possible value of h. Now let's try to understand the question. It's 15. So the horizontal part is fine. It's the same horizontal part. The length is also fine. It's the vertical that is the problem here. Okay, and it's a 2-mark question. Okay, so without thinking a lot about it, what I need to find out is how high is this prism. That's what I really want to figure out. How high is it? So I'm going to label that h. Now you see this creates a right angle triangle. So this is more of a question on trigonometry. Now I can't use this 15 because the 15 is up to a. I can still use the 14. That's the hypotenuse. I want to find out the opposite or the height. I'm going to use sine. I'm going to say that sine 27 was 27, right? Equals to h over 14. Yep, 14. So 14 sine 27 is h. H is therefore 6.355867, let's say. And your final answer should then be 6.36. Okay, that's the first question. Let's verify our answers quickly. 6.36. $20.98. I may have done a calculation mistake here. Let's check. Yeah, there seems to be a calculation mistake. I don't know what I did earlier, but the other things are fine. It's just that this is 20.977978. So that's 21.0. Okay. Apologies for getting the wrong answer. That's the first one. It says 6.84. That one is fine. I don't know what calculation mistake I ended up doing. Okay, moving on. This shows you another shape. This is another question from November 19 to 1. You can clearly see a cone and you can clearly see a cylinder. That is the kind of question that I expect on your exam, since prisms have already turned up and cylinders and cones haven't been tested. The diagram shows a gate post. It is made up of the shape of a cylinder with a cone on top. The cylinder and the cone each have a diameter of 8. Okay, so we don't use the diameter, we use the radius. So I'm going to label the radius and say it's 4 so that I don't make a silly mistake. The height of the cylinder is 95 and the height of the cone is 15. Calculate the volume of the gate post. Okay, so volume of the gate post would be the volume of cone plus volume of cylinder. So that would be 1/3 pi r square h. Pi is 3.142. R square 4 square, and the height of the cone is 15. The formula is given to you before the question, and that will be true about the exam as well. Then volume of the cylinder is basically pi r square h. It's not given here. Pi r square h. Let's write it down. Pi r square h first. I want to repeat this and then put it all together on the calculator in one go. So pi r square, and this time the height is 95. Okay, putting everything on a calculator, let's do that. Into 3.142 into 4 square into 15 plus 3.142 into 4 square into 95. That gives me 5027.2. Okay, correct to 3 significant figures. That should be 5030. 5030. Then it says show that the total surface curved surface area of the gate post is this. Calculate correct to 3 significant figures. So the curved surface area of the cone is available to you. What is the curved surface area of cylinder? The formula is 2 pi r h. You must have done that before. So I'm going to say that my calculations will be pi r l plus 2 pi r h. 3.142. Okay, L is what? L is the slant height. Now that is missing in the question. So what am I going to do about that? I'm going to say that when you split up a cone from the center and using the radius, it creates what we know as a right triangle. So L is basically this. So I can use the Pythagoras theorem to find L first. I'm going to say that L square equals to 15 square plus 4 square. What's 15 square plus 4 square? That's 225 plus 16. That's 241. 241. Okay, let me just be absolutely sure that I'm doing it correct. Okay, so L is basically root of 241. Okay, so pi r L plus 2 pi R H. I written two fours, I don't know why. H is 95. Okay, that's giving me 2583. Rounded 027, 028. Correct to three significant figures would be 2580. So I'm going to show you that that's correct to 3SF. So both these things carry working. This is a 5-mark question, so there were probably 2 marks for this and the other 3 marks for that. Moving on, then says a geometrically similar gate post has a total height of 150. Calculate the total curved surface area of this gate post. Now, if it has a total height of 150, the total height here was 110, if I am correct. Yes, 110. Okay, so how do you convert the ratio of lengths to a ratio of areas? You square it. You say that area 1 over area 2 is basically L1 over L2 whole square. So I'm going to say that L1 was 110, L2 is 150. Let's square that. Area 1 is 2583. Let's call that 2583. Okay, that area 2 is what I'm trying to find. Square 2583 divided by answer. So A2 is therefore 4803.099. So I'm just going to round it correct to 3 significant figures and let's tell you that it's 4800. Okay, remember the rule for similarity, that if you want the ratio of areas, you square the ratio of lengths to do that. I think all of these answers are correct. 5030, was that my first answer? Yes. Okay, quickly moving on to the third question. This again shows a cone. You should focus on these questions because these are the shapes that haven't turned up in P1, so they're more likely to turn up in P2. Okay, the diagram shows a bowl with a circular base. The curved surface area of the bowl is formed by removing a cone with a radius of 15, radius of 12, and height 45 from a curve from a larger cone as shown in the diagram. The radius of the top of the bowl is 16 and its height is 15. Calculate the volume of the bowl. Now remember that the bowl itself is not a standard shape. If you don't have a formula for the volume of this shape, what you do have is a volume for the formula for the volume of a cone. So you see two different cones. I see this small cone and I see this larger cone. So what I can do is I can say that the volume of the bowl is basically V of bowl is V of large cone minus V of small cone. Now the formula for cone again is given to you here. I can say that's 1/3 pi r. Now what is the volume for the larger cone? It's 16. So 16 square. What is the height of the larger cone? It's a total of 60. So 60. Smaller cone. 1/3 pi r square h. Okay. No, not sorry. H is the smaller height is 45. So I have to be careful with my calculations. 16 square into 60 minus 12 square into 45 into 3.142 divided by 3. So I'm getting about 9300.32. I hope that's the correct answer. This is question number 8A. Let's check first so that we don't make a mistake. Yes, 9300 is the correct answer. Okay, that says the slant height of the cone that has been removed is C centimeters. Okay, so that's given here. Show that C equals to 46.6. So again, the slant height creates a right angle triangle. I can clearly see that this length is 45 for me. So I can just say that C square is equals to 12 square plus 45 square. C is therefore the root. That gives me about 46.573. So which is 46.6. Okay, that is shown then. Then says the bowl is completely filled with water. Calculate the total surface area of the bowl that is in contact with the water. Now these questions are tough, so you have to do them step by step. You have to imagine what parts will be in contact with the water. So I'm going to erase a little and then show you the working for this. Now, see, this part is in contact with water. So you know there's a small circle plus. Of course, it's open from here, so it's not in contact with the water. What else is in contact with the water? It's this curved surface area that's in contact with the water. Now, this curved surface area doesn't have a formula for it, but you can use two different cones and subtract them. So you can say that the curved surface area that's in contact with water is curved surface area of large cone minus small cone. So that's what I have to subtract. So I'm going to take this, copy this, and take this to the other page, and then I'm going to try to calculate. Okay, now calculating this. 3.142 into 12 square, that's plain and simple. What about the larger cone? So pi r L is the formula. That's what we are told right up here. Pi r L. So I'm going to say 3.142 into r square, r, sorry, not r square, r into length. Now what's not length, the slant height. L is the slant height. What is the slant height? I don't have the entire slant height. I just have the smaller slant height, so I'll have to find out the entire slant height. I'm going to say that L square equals to 16 square plus 60 square. What does that give you? Gives me 4 root 241. Okay. So 4 root 241 minus 3.142 or and L, the slant height of the smaller one. So I'm going to take 46.573 just to have the answers more precise. Okay, so 3.142 into 12 squared plus 3.142 into 16 into 4 root 241. One eight one eight point 18, which is 1820. Okay. Okay, moving on. a company makes and packages chocolate bars. Okay, this box contains a chocolate bar. The box is in the shape of a triangular prism. Show that x equals to 4.5. This looks like a simple question on Pythagoras theorem. So I'm going to say that 7.5 squared equals to x squared plus 6 squared. So 7.5 squared minus 6 squared equals to x squared. X is there for the root of this. Let's calculate quickly the root of this. Root of 20.25, which is 4.5. Then it says these boxes are packed into cartons. Each carton is a cuboid with internal dimensions 30 by 28 by each. Okay. Then there's 80 boxes fill one carton exactly. Now, this question is a bit of trial and error, and you will see how we will do that. And it's 3 marks. Calculate the value of h. Now, I want to see if I was to start fitting it naturally. What I would do is I would pack one triangle and then put another triangle on top of it like that, so that it actually completes a cuboid. Okay, so there'll be two triangles put together and forming a cuboid on their own. So what I'm going to think about is, okay, how many can I fit horizontally? I'm going to be able to fit 6 centimeters and 30 centimeters is the relationship. So I can imagine fitting 5 into 2 horizontally. Why into 2? Because in this 6 centimeter width, I'll be overlapping two triangles to fit. So I can fit 10 horizontally. I can have a box just overlapping 10 bars like that arranged horizontally. Then if I were to think about these vertically, if I've arranged 10 horizontally, I can just say that this length is 28, which means that I just need to multiply by 2. So I can have 2 rows horizontally. Okay, so I am on 10 into 2, which gives me 20. If I were to require 80 to be packed into the entire box, that would mean that for H, I would need at least 4 levels like that vertically, which is why I'm going to say that if I want to fit 4 bars vertically like that, what my idea is that if this is X, which I found to be 4.5, 4 of these would mean 4.5 multiplied by 4, and I can get 18 out of this. So H should be 18. Okay, so the answer is correct. The 18 is correct, but I think the method has to be visible. Do they show another method? No, they've also done the same method that I have done. So I think that's fine. What I can do is I can simply take this here and paste it there, just because I was showing you the working. There's not much to be calculated and shown, but if you show them what you are working on, that should be absolutely fine. Okay, so if I were to just paste it like that, so that you would be able to see. Okay, the other way of doing that would be to have the volume of carton divided by the volume of chocolate, and I think that should also give you equals to 80. So you would have h as the unknown for the carton, all the other lengths should be there, and you should be able to get an answer out of this. Let's quickly think about this. It's 30 by 28 by h. Volume of chocolate is, it's a prism, so I'm going to say that its base area into height. The base area is half into 6 into x, and the length of this was 14, so I'm going to say that its base area into length and equals to 18. I think that should give you the correct answer for all of this as well. So 80 into x is 4.5. Okay, x is 4.5. So 6 into 4.5 into 14 divided by 2 cross multiplied by 80 divided by 30 divided by 28, and that also gives you 18. So that's the other way of doing this question. Okay, whichever way you find convenient. I could do this in this question because it says it fills one carton exactly, which means there's some empty space left. So you have to be careful whether the question is talking about empty spaces or not. One day the company packs 37,500 biscuits of these boxes into cartons. How many complete cartons are packed that day? So if one carton has 80, I can say that 37,500 divided by 80. Now remember that I'm only looking for complete cartons. So what I'm going to say is that let's divide and see. This gives you 468.75, which means that 468 cartons were complete and 0.75 was left, so 468 cartons. I'm not going to say 469 because the last carton is a bit empty right now. I cannot say that's a complete carton. Then it says the company sells the chocolate bars to shops for $0.70 each bar. The company makes 40% profit. Now, if you remember the percentage, the everyday math problems video that I've done, that is where we talk about profits and losses and discounts and so on. So profit is like an increase. I can say that this leads to a multiplier of 140. 140%. Let's see what it says beyond that. Profit on each bar. Work out the cost to the company of producing each bar. Okay, so I'm selling for 0.70. I can say that the original cost is missing, but I've taken a 40% profit, which means I've increased 40% on the original cost and gotten 0.70. So the original should be $0.5. Okay, then it says the shop buys one carton of chocolate bars. They sell 3/5 of the bars at a profit of 30%. Remember that one carton had 80 bars. Okay, then part 2 says a shop buys one carton of chocolate bars. So the shop basically got the bars at 0.70 each. So 80 bars into 0.70. Okay. Okay, that should have been the cost of the carton. What does that give me? 56. Now, what does the shop do? It says 3/5 of the bars at a profit of 30%. So what's 3/5 of 80? That's 48. What did they sell it at? They sell it at a profit of 30%. But what was their cost? Their cost was 0.7. So can I say that the profit was basically 0.30% of 0.7? Remember that profit percentages are always applied on cost. So 30% of 0.7 should give you 0.21. For the remaining bars, how many were remaining? 80 minus 48, that means 32 were remaining. They sold each at a profit of each at a price of 0.84, which means that the profit should have been 0.84 minus 0.7, which is 0.14. So the profit for these bars was 0.14. So can I say that 48 into 0.21 plus 32 into 0.14 divided by the cost, why that should be the total profit. Let's first calculate the total profit. Let's see what we get. 48 into 0.21 plus 32 into 0.14. Okay, that gives me 14.56. Okay, now I want to convert it into a percentage, so I'm going to say that 14.56 divided by, what did we write? 56. So that's about 26%. Okay, and that is your final answer. Let's check. I have the marking scheme in front of me. I can check all my answers. 0.5, 468, 18, and 26. Yes, they're all correct. Okay, moving on. Is this a question from the same paper? Yes, that's a question from the same paper. This was question number 5. No, I think that's a different paper. May, June 20. Okay, this is the same paper. So let's try to do this one as well. This one is mensuration in 2 dimensions. You see just sector. It says a display notice is removed by formed by removing a large sector from a small sector, a small sector from a large sector. Both sectors have an angle of 110. The radii of the sectors are 80 and 45. Calculate arc length L. So arc length is simple. It's theta over 360 into 2 pi r. So I'm going to say that theta 3.142, and the r for the larger arc length is 80. So I'm going to place 80 here. So that gives me, remember that showing me these values inserted into the formula is the method mark. It's not about writing down the formula, it's about putting in the values. 153.609. So I'm going to say that it's 154 centimeters. Okay. Yeah, 154. Then says calculate the area of the display notice. So that's simple as well. It's the area of larger sector minus area of small sector. So it's theta over 360. This time it's pi r squared. So 3.142 into 80 squared and then 45 squared minus 80 squared minus 45 squared gives you 4200.243. 4200. Okay. Okay, part B. The diagram shows a display notice mathematically similar to the one in part A. The radius of the larger sector is 32. Calculate the area of the display notice. So we did this before as well. That area 1 divided by area 2 is L1 over L2 whole square. Okay. Let's 4200.243. Okay. 4200.243 was my first area. I'm looking for area 2. The larger sector was 80 before, so 80, the smaller sign is 32, so I'm going to do 32. So I'm taking comparable sides and then calculating accordingly. 80 divided by 32 squared is 25 over 4, which is 6.25. 4200 divided by 6.25. Okay, so I've just shuffled around and I've said that 4200.243 divided by 80 divided by 32 squared. Okay, that's what I've done. So A2 is coming out to be 672. If I am more precise, let me just be more precise. 672.0388. So that comes out to be 672. Yes, that is the correct answer. Thank you for watching. Please make sure to keep following for more videos. Thank you.